What OBA is this? Saturday, 10th June 2017. The time is 9:23 p.m. and we don't do live videos on a Saturday night ever. We're doing a live video tonight because Gary Griffith and I, my very good friend, my compadre, I hope we are friends after this. We are going to cross swords publicly. We are going to debate an issue. I have called Gary Griffith out on his position on Faris Al-Rawi, the children, the guns and all that bacchanal. So you know the date, Saturday 10th of June. While I wait on Gary to call me, here we go. Let me see if we get our audience on Saturday night. Gary said he's going to call. We are debating on the wall. He asked me why I'm asking these questions now. People trying to frame the narrative as to why I have an interest in this. My only interest is because Kenrick Maraj has rubbished the Board of Inquiry's position. So I want Gary Griffith to still decide if he's going to stand by his position. Others have said, Gary Griffith has said that whoever leaked those pictures should be fired from the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force. Rudal Munilal said they got it from the children's page. When you look at the two pictures, you see two little children with high-powered rifles. One, an obvious boy, shooting forward. The second, a girl posing for her Facebook profile picture. Because she would not have been posing, giving a peace sign to a soldier from the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force. So throw that away. Let's put some blood in the water. Let us ask serious questions tonight. Because former Chief of Defence Staff, Kenrick Maraj, has said that it is a lie, and he has now issued his own Freedom of Information inquiry for the full details of the Board of Inquiry that sought to incriminate him, and he is trying to distance himself. That is a Freedom of Information inquiry that now former CDS Smart signed his name to, a criminal act. That is a separate crime. We have to deal with that. But serial crimes were committed by Faris Al-Rawi, his children, and anybody else who were there, any other adults who were there, who gave their consent, anybody who put those guns in those children's hands, all of the soldiers, the members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force, the senior chap, the guy who opened the gate, the man who opened the locker and said, look, guns, use this. All of those people have questions to answer, and this can't end now. And trying to distract from the conversation, they're saying that because I gave support to Gerald Ramdin and Wayne Sturge in their matters against the judiciary and the Chief Justice, somehow means that I am on that side of the fence. Let me disabuse you from that completely. That could never be the point. Others are saying UNC lawyers are representing me in my matters against an obvious PNM attorney and two people who are neighbors in Goodwood Park. I have pictures of one of the people hugging the other person, saying this is the best neighbor you could have. Both of them represented by one attorney who is appointed to at least one state board that I am aware of by the People's National Movement, and I am not sure, but I understood may have represented Keith Rowley in a matter. All of that aside, my two attorneys, two separate attorneys, I'll tell you why. My first attorney, Devish Maraj and Company, I am represented by Candice Barrett against Andrew Gabriel. They were also going to be my attorney of choice, separate and independent, for the matter that I'm also being sued by Global Medical Response Trinidad and Tobago. But Michael Kwamena, the PNM lawyer representing Andrew Gabriel and now Global Medical Response, who brought these matters against me, told Candice Barrett and Devish Maraj and Company, Global Medical Response Trinidad and Tobago is associated with Amalgamated Security Limited because they have one owner, a fellow by the name of Michael Aboud, and because of that, they called that a conflict, and Devish Maraj had to decline the brief. So, Anand Ramlogan, of his own accord, offered to take on the matter for me, and I declined. I do not have funds to be paying lawyers, but I went to my political party, the Progressive Empowerment Party, and I had a meeting with the executive, and I said, a former Attorney General has offered his services free of charge, and they asked me to again politely declined because they did not want to associate the Progressive Empowerment Party with the UNC, regardless of what matters I had to fight. So now we're selling barbecue, planning to wash car, and hosting tea parties to raise funds for this legal fund, and we will deal with it. So another attorney, I do not want to bring it. In fact, you know what? Athena Chambers are my attorneys for this second matter with Global Medical Response Trinidad and Tobago. You know why? Because it's hard to swing a cat in this country and your lawyer not be associated with some company, first hand, second hand, third hand associated with any of these interlocking companies that all of these people could claim that's my family, that's my cousin, that's my brother, son, sister, daughter, gardener, friend. So all of these lawyers, and I had to go knocking on doors firm to firm to find a credible, capable, and Devish Maraj and company recommended Athena Chambers and the attorney that is handling the second matter. So all of that, wash it away, because I have my receipts and I am paying my way. Unlike others, I don't know how they're getting that thing done, but I know I have to pay my attorneys to fight my matters, and I will do so because I am going in the courts looking for justice. And if I do not find it in the local courts, we will go foreign, and I don't care how much car I have to wash and how much barbecue I had to barbecue. But everybody on Facebook right now, who is on Facebook right now, is getting a notification that Philip Edward Alexander is live. Plus, Gary said on a post on my wall, anytime. I asked him 9:30 on multiples of places. It is now 9:29. I hope Gary Griffith is going to call me, because there were 6 laws that we know of that Faris Alrawi and his children, or different permutations of all the people involved, broke. And we need to know, separate and aside from the now cover-up board of inquiry, that whole rubbish, falsehood, lie, nonsense that has to be torn up. No, you can't tear it up, because now it's going to be used as evidence to see if public office holders in the army conspired with an attorney general, if that occurred, or was it just a clusterfuck on the army's part. We will know. Tonight's video is called Out and Bad. I want to bring this in the public space because Major General Kenrick Maraj, balls the size of a bull, stand up and said to everybody, you lie. So, let me call them out. What is joke for schoolboy is death for crapaud. There we go. 9:30. I'm going to post on my wall, Gary, we there and we live and we waiting. I don't mind getting licks, I will take licks, but I ain't taking bullshit. I know what is right, and I will stand on what is right. Like the media, while we waiting on Gary to find his phone, TV6 come and interview me outside the massive protest we held outside the Parliament this Friday, and they hide it away. I just got a WhatsApp from Gary. Mr. Gary is driving or on his way to a call. Telling Gary we're live and waiting on his call. Gary, if you don't have no money on your phone, shoot me a message, I will make the call. I have a postpaid plan. Saying again, Gary's a man I have the greatest of respect for. The greatest of respect for. But I'm not, and let me tell you, and there are members of the political party on this wall here that will tell you. Last week, Saturday, in a Progressive Empowerment Party meeting, I defend Gary to the end. Because I believe in that man. I believe in him and his ability. I want to disconnect him from what's going on here. This is what we know. While we waiting, police report a man attacked them with a hammer and they shoot him in his buttocks. That bullet twists. Gary Griffith is calling, in case you all think it's a voice actor. Right, let me turn off the music and bring Mr. Griffith in. Good evening, Mr. Griffith. Gary, sorry, say that again. The speaker was off. Say it again. Go for it.
What's that?
The speakerphone was off. Good evening. Welcome aboard. You're live and Trinidad. Waiting to hear from you.
Good evening, my comrade. Nothing better to do on a Saturday night than to talk to my good friend.
Exactly. And I want to say again, regardless of the outcome, I still consider you a man of integrity. I want to know your position on these things. You're a man of respect. I want to ask you a couple of questions. And if you don't mind, because I need to ask these questions. We will deal with the laws that they said that were broken. But I'm asking you on the wall and we're exchanging it, but people say it getting lost in translation. So So I want to ask you this. You were a captain in the army and you were a minister of national security. To your knowledge, besides Faris Arawi and yourself, has any public office holder ever been afforded and taken advantage of the opportunity to go to the army and be trained with automatic weapons, they and their family?
No, the answer is no.
Nobody.
I'm not aware of any such.
You are not aware of.
Wait, it does not mean it never took place because the reason for such training is not for every single Tom, Dick, Gary to know about it.
Absolutely, and I respect that. But certain people jumped out and said, no attorney general in history of this nation has ever been afforded such a thing. Some said they didn't know it existed, and nobody has confronted that or tried to rubbish that as a statement. But you, to your knowledge, are not aware of anybody else besides you and Faris. Now, you said...
No, we still got some flip. And had I known, or if you knew, then there would have been a breach in security, because the type of training, the type of briefing, the type of security preparation for someone under VIP protection, it is not for everybody to know.
Not for public consumption.
So now you're asking a question based on the fact that no one will know the answer. So saying that you do not know doesn't mean that it has not happened to every attorney general.
I accept that it is not for public consumption. However, attorneys general have said that Ramesh said, Anand said, I think John Jeremy, if I'm not mistaken, said...
Good point, yes. That it was not done. And again, let me give you a similar example. Army security was never given to a prime minister before. Because it was given to prime minister Pandit, meant that it was wrong?
No.
There's something, because that you have to upgrade and develop elements of security. So because it never happened before, doesn't mean it is wrong now.
I agree.
I'm not saying that is the reason why it's right.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's just that Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj hung Dole Chedi and his boys.
Yeah.
So if anybody needed to learn how to handle a high-powered automatic weapon, it should have been Ramesh, in my view.
Very good point, yeah.
Maybe they didn't know then, and it upgraded to now. Okay, but I want to ask you this. You were the security advisor to Kamla Prasad Bisesa before you were Minister of National Security.
Correct.
Did you have any input in the calling of the state of emergency when there were rumors or serious concerns that there were threats against her life and her government?
But Philip Alexander, I was in a line on, what do you call it, boy, is either Jurassic Park or the mountain in Orlando when this happened. I was nowhere around. I was on vacation with my family. So when people with foolish comments state that I was involved in it, I was in Orlando. I was never involved. When I got back to Trinidad and Tobago, however, let me say it is one thing I don't do is talk out of a question. However, when the intelligence agency said there's a clear and present danger by several persons to destabilize our country, inclusive of assassination attempts, and this comes from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the SSA, any government worth their salt would definitely call a state of emergency.
I agree.
Countries have called state of emergency if there's a forest fire, Philip. But you see, suppose they did not adhere to it because they're afraid of the opposition propaganda. The present government that was in opposition, that criticized this, call a state of emergency to lock up a little old lady in a house.
Absolutely. But I want to stick to this point for a reason, and I hear what you're saying, and I like what you said. You said that even though you weren't here when the decision was made to call the state of emergency, when you came and you realized that there were credible information, a threat against the life of a sitting prime minister, you supported it, yes?
I thought had I been Minister of National Security based on the intelligence agencies telling me that, no, granted, the intelligence could be flawed, which is why it is so important we do a proper audit of the police service. The police service, I'm sorry to say, but this is very important, Philip. The police service cannot be audited when the deputy organization that is doing an audit, but they have themselves in the audit committee auditing themselves.
Jackassery. Himself to himself is pure jackassery.
Yeah, sorry for that, Sri, but I just
I listen. You always give so much salient information. I tell Trinidad and Tobago, most of my national security knowledge I get from Gary Griffith. He is my go-to guy. I believe Gary Griffith has more knowledge in his big toe, as he said to me, than I have in my whole head. And my head have a lot of information. I mean, my Google search is good, but his institutional knowledge is better. And I believe that, and I stand by that. Gary and I having a problem with Gary's position on Faris, and I want us to get as close to where we disagree as possible. Gary, you said that a state of emergency was called because there was a credible threat against the Prime Minister's life. How long after that state of emergency was called was Kamala Persad-Bissess and her family whisked away to Kamutu and trained with the use of high-powered automatic rifles?
I like to recall, Philip, that was never done.
Thank you very much.
Never done. No, again, let's go back to the issue. No, because there's
just now wait. Just now wait. Sure. Let that sink in. Because if there was sufficient credible threat to call a state of emergency, then I would assume if there was...
You can get a more realistic and justifiable reason for it. Understood?
Then you could go and talk now. Because you see, and the reason I have a problem, and brother, I tell you and again, I consider Gary Griffith a brother. We went to school together. I know this man my whole life. And Gary, I'm calling you out because I want you to... I believe you have still big service to offer this country. So, in my wording of my call out tonight, I say, what does the AG have on Gary? And I edited that back out after.
That is because that, you know, Philip, what a government had on me. They had something to swing to make me a minister and to be known as honorable and to have a cabinet appointment. I threw that away. Which other minister stood up on that? That had stand on principle. I could never be for sale. So to allude to something like that, you have to go down that road.
I would be the last person, having stood by you through a crisis in a government, I would be the last person to cast aspersions on your name or your brand like that. So if it came across like that, because I realized how it could have been read, I edited out that line and it's gone. So I apologize for that. I didn't want anybody to think that I meant that you were for sale in any way. I do not believe that Gary Griffith is a man that could be bought or sold. And
they can't. What Philippa gave up a ministerial appointment. You were the first person I called when I told you I get him a truth. But
I saying it publicly, I do not think and would never stand. And the closest people to me right now are the executive members of the Progressive Empowerment Party, and they could tell you that no matter who come through the door, it could be the pantheon of gods to tell me about Gary Griffith. I stand firm in my belief and support of you. So, and I'm saying that this is not a bromance. This is me respecting a man. This is me respecting a man and his ability. And
all right, I appreciate it. Now, let me go to this one because there's a lot of debate about this thing with Faris and his children. Now, the first thing, Philip, unlike you, there are about 200,000 people on either side. You see how this is being used? This is being used as a political football.
Yes, it is.
I have a concern when the defense force and my military is being knocked around on both sides. The first thing is...
But stop for a second. Just stop for a second. Because it's being done in every public institution. Look at what is going on with the judiciary. Look at what's going on. They call it Justice Pasad, the roti judge. What is going on in this country?
Exactly. And I want to go to this point. So, most of the people, and I'm not talking about the Philip Alexanders and persons in the PEP, most of the people who are criticizing and saying that the law is broken, I am telling you most. The same people, and I am glad you used Kamala Persad-Bissess' family. Suppose the same security arrangement was done for Dr. Gregory Bissessa to say, listen, this is the situation, we need you to have familiarization with the weapon. I am telling you, Philip Alexander, 95% of the people who are criticizing this matter now would shut up. And 95% of those who are defending this would have criticized it.
Absolutely.
So people make decisions based on which side of the political fence you want to affect your political party. That's what I have a problem with.
And you, both of us have the same problem with that. But this is the bigger problem I have, okay? And I want to tell you this. Faris Al-Rawi is the Attorney General. He's the number 2 man. According to the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you need 2 people to make a cabinet. A Prime Minister and an Attorney General. That's it. He is the number 4 man in the hierarchy of the state. He is the defender, the upholder of the laws of the state. When this Mark Bus with Rudal Munilal, whether he was expecting it or not,
Yeah.
I would have expected that Faris Al-Rawi would have done something better than deny it was his children.
And Philip, and I have that is not the issue. You see, people, someone denying whether it was his children or not, that is not my issue. Whether Ken Maraj calling Rodney Smart a liar, Rodney Smart calling Ken Maraj a liar, you see that kind of catfighting between two senior generals, I have serious problems with that.
Yes.
I have serious problems when the defense force is basically not trying to make a comment about the issue and trying to point blame as to who is responsible for it taking place. Those are the things I have an issue with. It is not passing the buck. The defense force is being blamed, and then people now will look at Ken Maraj and say, "Oh, that is the man who got the 1-year extension by the UNC government. This is the man who assists Jack Warner in breaking down 10 illegally."
It's stink and dirty. When they go down that road, it's stink and dirty.
Exactly.
But look at what.
I want to go back to the
Yeah, but
issue now.
just let me say this. But look at what the public saw, because the public saw in the public space Rudal Munilal bring out these pictures, and it looked like Faris Al-Rawi children. The Attorney General said those are not his children. The Minister of Legal Affairs and the attorney in the Attorney General's office said Faris wasn't even there. I mean, from the word go, it started to look like lies and cover-ups. Instead of Faris coming out and saying, I will take full responsibility for what's going on here. I will conduct an investigation and report back to the people. You did that so many times when you were minister.
Exactly.
Why is it so?
And I am not going to take medicine for other people's fever.
Well, this is why I call you out. This is why I call you out on this issue, because I call you out on this issue because people are saying to me, who is one of your best defenders, that you are taking medicine for Faris fever on this.
But that is not true. The only matter that I was on TV6 last week, and I spoke about how it was on the Guardian, and I said this is very nasty. The cat fighting, this is untidy. It is not the professionalism we see in the defense force. Something is seriously wrong. I said it about how the report was done. How could he do a board of inquiry without calling General Maraj to ask him for his view? There are many irregularities.
Gary, that was a crime, because they responded to a Freedom of Information request, which is a sworn document that everything in this response they know and hold to be true.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now that it is proven to be a lie, but now that
I am not defending any of these things.
But Gary, that is a criminal act. Now that is proven to be a lie, that should be the subject of a second criminal investigation.
I lost you there, Philip. Which one is that? About what?
The general CDS Smart signing that document, responding to a Freedom of Information request with a known falsehood, is a criminal matter.
Well, wait, Philip, be careful, because we don't know if it's a criminal act. Suppose it is that Rodney Smart is correct and Ken Maraj is lying. We don't know. That is not our business. Let us not get involved in their cat fight.
So we don't know. You saying that Kenrick Maraj might be lying?
We don't know, Philip. Do you know that he is? Do you know that Rodney Smart is? Do you know that was possibly with a misinterpretation and a bad wording by Rodney Smart? I am not. You see, what I don't like to do is to demonize people and call them a liar.
I have all the signed documents. That's what was sent to me. I have the signed document, the request. I have the signed document, the response.
All right, let me give you an example. There's something called an administrative instruction by the defense force. For anything to take place, it must go through the administrative instruction. That is done by the commanding officer of a battalion. It is then given to the chief of defense staff. Any matter of any operation must go to the chief of defense staff. No, I am not saying that Ken Maraj is lying. I'm just showing something. Unless there was a massive cover-up and it was never passed on to him. Likewise, it is basic protocol that anytime any senior minister visits any military camp, the chief of defense staff must be informed. So there was serious shortcomings here. Somebody dropped the ball and the goalpost being shifted conveniently. I am not into it is for them to decide.
Okay,
the one thing we know for sure is that Ken Maraj should have been called in the board of inquiry. Why was he not called in?
Well, you see, this is the point. We have judgment without inquiry. We have statements made by persons unbeknownst to persons whose names calling, which is a frightening thing. Closed door justice. Because you could have found out, Gary Griffith, that they could have said it was you. And you found out, Kenrick Maraj said he found out in the media. Which is frightening.
And again, well, remember, it did happen. Remember, Pastor Barrett made a cabinet note and accused me of saying that I breached cabinet confidentiality. Okay, so, I never did.
So let you and I, let's stick a pin in all of that with what went on between the Chief of Defense Staff, all past, present, and future, and leave that to that now new investigation into who was wrong there, and come back to this, because the substantive matter, you see, Trinidadians are hurting. I tell you why they're hurting. Trinidadians are hurting because they believe that the governments of this country have been a self-inflicted royalty, taking advantage of the people,
I agree.
doing what the hell they want. You see,
I am not a defender of the
no, you're not. No, you're not. You're
more
not.
than me, the national security. So for anybody to perceive that I am here trying to defend anyone, who attacks the government more with constructive criticism on national security than myself?
This opportunity here now is for you tonight to tell the people, because
let's get to the point now.
Section 6 of the Firearms Act, Chapter 1601, prohibits a person from having a firearm in his possession without being the holder of it.
Possession. There's a right. No. If you allow me 2 minutes without interruption. This is my view. It is my view. Everybody will have their own view. It doesn't make it mean that we have to be enemies. My 17 years of military service, me attending the best military academy in the world, me topping lieutenant to captain exams, myself having 3 national medals of merit, inclusive of being the first Trinidad and Tobago citizen to enter this country with a United Nations medal, the youngest officer to serve in the attempted coup, and also fighting against the IRA and other places. I think I have some basic knowledge about military law and weapon possession.
Okay, but stop for 1 second.
Let me clarify.
Go ahead.
There's a difference with possession and familiarization. Brigadier Carl Alfonso is the most knowledgeable, the most brilliant professional, and the person who knows more about the defense force than anybody else in this country. The man was actually in the West India Regiment. Brigadier Alfonso could tell you, Philip Alexander, that since the defense force was established, we have been doing this almost on a monthly basis, where the family members of the defense force will come into the camp. We have something called caravans. They are allowed to hold the weapons. I have shown you all photographs in the police caravans where children have held these weapons. There's a difference with possession and familiarization.
Could I ask you a question on this?
Sure.
If every one of those instances, the substantive law of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago was broken, does it make it right?
Nice one. And if that is the case, we are speaking about the police and the army breaking the law for 50 years.
Yep.
So my point being is, if we go down that road, we need, before we decide to point fingers at Faris Al-Rari and his children, we need to arrest every chief of defense staff, every commanding officer, every commissioner of police, and every police officer and the soldier who has allowed these things to happen.
Yes.
So the point is it that nobody see, but Philip, in some people's impression, we have a lot of bush lawyers just now on Facebook, because their interpretation is possession means as soon as you hold it. If you have a firearm, Philip, in your home, and you're an FUL holder, and you have a 17-year-old child, and you want to tell the son, this is kept in the safe. If anything ever happens to me, this is what you will need to use. Let me also tell you, this is not a toy. Most families do that. So every time a child holds a weapon, every time you give your wife a weapon to hold, you have broken the law? The answer is no, because there's a difference between familiarization and possession.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure.
If the law as written is wrong, and the law should be...
No, the law cannot be wrong. That is the law.
But
the law cannot be wrong.
No, what I'm
saying, the law could be misinterpreted.
Wait, no. What I'm saying to you is, the law says one thing, common sense and reason that you're applying says something else. So shouldn't the law be amended to reflect that common sense and reason?
Agreed.
Could I ask you one more question? Could I ask you just one more question on that? You say agreed. Faris Al-Rari is the Attorney General. If anybody has the authority to amend laws to common sense and reason, shouldn't it be him? Shouldn't he do that instead of flout the law?
Understood, but we don't know if the law is flouted, because as I said, this has been done for the last 50 years.
Yes, but none of those people...
Alfonso will say this is ridiculous. This has been done to thousands of
Carl
children
Alfonso,
and civilians have held firearms.
Absolutely, but Brigadier Carl Alfonso and none of these police and soldiers who've done this had the ability, the opportunity, the power to amend the law.
To amend it, correct.
Faris Al-Rari, as chief custodian of the nation's laws...
Yes. And let me go back. I am here dealing with operations. Let me again, before people feel that I'm blindly supporting this. The concern I saw with that is that when it is done, the magazine should not have been in the weapon. Because as I said, this has been done for the last 50 years. As a lieutenant, as a captain, I have seen it dozens of times. The children are allowed to hold the weapon. The magazine must not be in the weapon. The weapon must be cleared.
So that's a separate...
in the chamber. I heard General Marad say that how he saw that the weapon had live rounds in it. You could never see from a photograph if a weapon has live rounds in it. What we did see was the magazine was connected to the weapon.
Is there a
reason? Should not have taken place.
Is there a reason to have an empty magazine? Could there ever be a reason for the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force to have an empty magazine?
All the time, Philip. Dozens of times. There's something called dry firing. There's something called drills. So this is done.
But you just
the majority of times in your recruit training, your magazine will be empty because you're doing drills. When you have to do dry firing, you have to do something called the 4-point system, where you look from the eyesight to the back of the weapon, to the foresight of the aperture blade, to the target. And you have certain things about breathing. All of these things, the weapon is so it's not that every time someone has a weapon, it is loaded. It is not every time you have a weapon, there are rounds in the chamber, especially if you are training, especially if the persons are untrained. So as a recruit, the majority of the times in recruit training, it will be an empty round. But if you go down this road, Philip, every cadet should probably be arrested.
No, I'm just saying. Because
why we don't, all the bush lawyers that will say, why we don't arrest all the cadets? Because there's nothing in the law that says a cadet should hold a firearm.
I hear you, and again, it keeps bringing my mind. My mind is like a dog with a bone. Why doesn't Faris Al-Rawi fix that law?
All right, but
they fix Section 34.
All I'm saying is that the concern, because I'm telling you, and when people say, well, why are they using that weapon? Let me explain something. My life was put at risk. There were death threats on me. You should know about it. $3.5 million was put on my head because of what I was doing. Death threats were put to my family. Now, my son at that time was about 11 or 12. I don't think that he would have been able and should be to understand how it is you could secure yourself with a firearm. If someone, and again, this is my view, it could be people have different views. If the children are in a vehicle and they're going to be ambushed, right? It's not about seeing it in movies, Philip. I have trained in the best places in the world. If the person who is the principal, what is she or he supposed to take the weapon and pelt it at the assassin?
No, you're right,
Gary. They show any weapon.
Nothing you say.
People asking why they use a smaller weapon. That is the weapon that is in the vehicle. So that's the weapon they might have to use to protect themselves and to get out of the anti-ambush drill that they would have been trained in.
That you've said from the start, and nothing you say there is wrong. My question still comes back to this. Faris Al-Rawi had a perfect opportunity to fix a problem. There are many problems with the Firearm Act, including how you issue a firearm user's license. Half the country right now waiting to get a firearm user's license that jam up in the commissioner of police office.
Yeah, and because of the colonial system of a commissioner who is so clueless, and then you have a deputy commissioner who is part of the audit team. He's not going to change it because he'll expose himself.
So you know what? We'll stick a pin in that. But you are saying that it compounded the matter because there were magazines in the rifles as well.
The magazine should not have been in the rifle.
Okay,
the magazine should not have been in the rifle.
Familiarizing does not include firing of wrongs or anything like that.
Definitely not. You cannot fire. You cannot fire a wrong as an untrained. That you see, now you're turning into possession. And that's the point. Someone holding a weapon that's with an empty mag. It's just like the cadets, Philip. If it is we want to charge Faris Al-Rawi and his children, we have to charge every cadet who has a weapon.
But the board tell you that the cadets can't change the law. The cadets don't write law.
No, I know, but why? My point is, Philip, why target Faris children? Why we don't target all the cadets? You know what? The firing pins are not in those weapons.
All right.
These drills.
And I hear you, but at some point, Gary, we are going to elect to office people who understand. If a law is non-functional, dysfunctional, or malfunctional, we need to fix the law and not just break the law with impunity.
Look at what I did. We are basically the only country in the world that customs is under finance. I put it in cabinet to get it amended. They stopped. We went and we spoke about glass bottles. As soon as I left, certain persons in cabinet who never came in town for carnival said that if you don't have a glass bottle in your hand, they wouldn't vote for you. So we have a situation where it is the only country in the world, where if a child has a yellow camouflage Pampers or a woman has a blue camouflage shoes, that is illegal. You put laws not to frustrate people, you put laws to protect people. If a lady has a blue pom-pom camouflage shorts, how could that be a threat to national security? Because they are so clueless.
Depends on the shorts. It depends on
the point being is that the camouflage and the resemblance of the Defense Force, which is in Chapter 1401 of the Defense Act of the Laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Customs took that, left out the part of the resemblance of the Defense Force, and it is the only country in the world where any color of camouflage is illegal. How could camouflage, a yellow camouflage, be illegal? Unless it's a UNC camouflage soldier. But you can't, the fact is, camouflage could only be if it is you are trying to imitate and represent members of the protective services.
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of laws that I actually put, and I sent it forward. It was tabled, and it was never done. It just all collapsed.
But I want to ask you this question: if for some reason that picture was somebody of a lower hue in society,
yes,
do you think they would have been afforded the same excuses?
Philip,
Because
they were, Philip.
Gary, we live in a country where a police officer. We live in a country where a police officer.
It was on the front page of the newspaper.
Okay, yes, no, I hear you, but we live in a country where a police officer, the people charged with interpreting these laws, because a police officer could have go down in Komuto and arrest everybody. Because a police officer...
But you know why they have not? Because the police know in the interpretation of that law, possession is not familiarization.
Okay, but I'm saying this to you. We live in a country where a police officer took a pregnant woman off the bus route who was in labor and nearly endangered the mother and the child to prove a point. So laws need to be written in such a way, like you were just talking about the camouflage.
Philip, what in summary, the Ken Mara situation, not inviting him to the board of inquiry, the magazine being loaded, the whole nature, the ugly, the nasty catfight between two previous chiefs of defense staff, Brigadier General Dillon, Sandy, Antoine and Alfonso, 4 previous chiefs of staff. They would have never gone down to that level. So I am not here to defend all the madness that is going down. I am here, I have a serious problem when people continue to condemn. These are 2 children, and these photos continue to be put up. Suppose these were your 2 children.
Gary?
These children have, in the eyes of the police and the defense force, they have not broken the law. Because of the eyes of other persons, these children go to school. These children, they have friends.
So
we need to calm ourselves and stop taking. But this gun-toting children, and this nonsense about a high-powered weapon. Some jokey man decided to go on Google and type a high-powered weapon. But there's something called a low-powered weapon. It is known as a semi-automatic rifle.
So, but these are the laws that then need amending, because these are the laws that a UNC police could charge Faris family with. Section 6 of the Firearms Act, Section 8 of the Firearms Act, Section 9.
You know why they can't?
I'm just saying to you.
Familiarization is not possession. That's the point. Because if that was the case, all the cadets supposed to be arrested in the morning.
And listen, the fact that they never took everybody off the bus route, but they took this pregnant woman off the bus route, makes the point I'm trying to make. All of these laws need to be amended to reflect what you say. They need
Agreed, 100%.
Section 3 of the Military Training Prohibition Act, Section 4 of the Military Act, Section 8 of the Children Act. All of those laws.
Let's not turn this thing into a political football, and the defense force is being seen as a big cover-up. Let me tell you something. This man, the soldier who was killed, these jokers, this man was killed, the soldier who, it is perceived, seen that he killed himself. They said that because he knew about the situation. Total nonsense. The man did not set foot in an army camp for the last 6 months before that incident, because he was on something called resettlement training. Only get off your high horse and stop trying to push things to affect the defense force. Only kill the man because he knew about the thing with Faris and he did the report. Only stop talking stupidness if you don't know what's going on. The man was on resettlement training. Leave the man and his family out of it. Leave the children of Senator Alwari out of it. Go after Senator Alwari. Stop harassing the people's children. The eyes of the police did not break the law.
Why has Faris Alwari not said these things that you are saying?
I don't know. I can't speak. Philip, I can't speak on behalf of...
Why is Faris Alwari as Attorney General not being held to account here? Because he's not done what he needs to do to amend laws that he now knows since. Has anything been done to amend those laws?
No, nothing. It has never been touched.
So we are living in a nation ruled by law, which is the definition of a republic. The Attorney General, the man charged with the upholding of our laws, the chief custodian of the law, is openly flouting a law, knows by the pushback that the laws need to be amended and still do nothing about it.
Well, Philip, let me show you. A certain lady known as Nicole Dyer Griffith, she did immense research. Pepper spray is something that has saved tens of thousands of lives around the world. Women have escaped being raped, kidnapped, killed. And the reason why we cannot use pepper spray in this banana republic is because of our 1970s law, the Noxious Substance Act. And the thing is, you could take a tin of Baygon and spray it on someone, but pepper spray is proven, and then you'll hear jokey people, well, the criminals will use it. Well, brothers and sisters, let me educate you all. It's easier to get a gun right now out there than a knife. A criminal is not going to drop his firearm to use pepper spray, and if he does, it might save the life of the individual.
But then,
we need to stop finding
but then that brings us back. Then that brings us back to this, because You've demonstrated that using clear policing and security techniques, we can make a difference on crime. Yes?
Sure, yes.
And you've not excused lawbreaking or wrongdoing to accomplish that. You didn't throw the laws of the Republic out to accomplish that, did you?
No, I didn't.
So you were the upholder of the law as well. And again, Gary, this, and I'm telling you as your friend, is why people have a problem with you defending Faris on this, because one,
I'm not defending Faris, I am defending
the conditions under which Faris found himself. I understand that.
But that is all I have spoken about in this whole matter, Philip. I have condemned everything else. My only thing is this matter with the weapon, holding the weapon, the Bush lawyers, and people who want to conveniently interpret firearm possession with familiarization. All I'm saying is that is the case. Every husband who gives his wife his weapon to hold, every single police officer and defense force person who has given children weapons to hold in caravans that are usually held monthly, every single cadet for the last 50 years who have held weapons, lock up all of them. And the point is, so let us get off our high horse just because it's Faris Al-Rawi children. So, I have shown front page photographs of children holding weapons. And this lady saying, oh, they're not weapons, gas canisters. Well, let me tell you, you take that and you walk down the street with it and you will get locked up in no time flat. Unless it has been under supervision, unless the magazine is not in there, unless the wrong is clear, and unless it is that someone is monitoring it no longer becomes familiarization, it becomes possession.
Okay, but I don't want either one of us to be accused of using circular reasoning here. I still want to ask you, ultimately, the person who's supposed to make changes to these laws is Faris Al-Rawi as the Attorney General, yes?
Well, yes and no. Also the Minister of National Security, because just like, for example, the Noxious Substance Act with the pepper spray, I drafted that, the customs, the camouflage, many other laws, the Cybercrime Act. The Minister of National Security is supposed to be fronting these things, not the Attorney General. Well, unless you have a Minister of National Security who is very dormant, but the Attorney General is there to do this research, and then on the Monday you have the relevant ministers.
Okay, but who sets the legislative agenda?
No, the Attorney General.
So the Minister of National Security cannot take it upon himself to go and pass a law?
No, he can't. But he should be proactive enough to be able to look and realize, listen, pepper spray should be something that should be legalized. We can't have the only country in the world that every single color and design of camouflage is illegal. If you have a camouflage water bottle, that you're broken the law. We can't have a situation where a cadet who is holding a weapon, it is so now realized, well, according to all the Bush lawyers now, that we are breaking the law.
So again, if what you say, and I'm willing to take what you say on face value, if what you say is true and it is fact, why, and neither of us, you and I, are lawyers, why didn't Faris Al-Rawi, who is a lawyer, take this as his position from the start?
I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of Faris. I could speak on behalf of Gary Griffith. And
okay, but I am asking you this because Faris Al-Rawi has ducked and avoided culpability, responsibility, or even answering for the matter. The same person. And I'll tell you why Trinidad want to hang him from his own words. Because if this was Faris Al-Rawi in the opposition, and that was Rudal Monilal children, none of what you just said would have made an iota of difference to Faris Al-Rawi. He would have stormed Hamer's show and Fazil's show and every show that would have taken him on. So this is politics. So this is all dirty politics.
Who are condemning it now would have probably supported it.
Would have supported it then.
And the PNM supporters who are seeing nothing wrong would have condemned it. And that is the...
Correct. So when do we get a government? When do we get a government that could transcend politics? When do we get an...
I can tell you when. It is happening on the first opportunity that we could get.
When do we get an Attorney General who could come to the public and say all the things that you just say and promise to the public he is going to amend these archaic laws so that things like this do not present a problem in the future?
Again, yeah. Well, only you will ask him that. I am not here to speak on behalf of him. I'm not his spokesman. I'm not his defender. I'm not his attacker. I am just here to give an interpretation of what is done in the defense force and the police service.
In my view, you've sufficiently cleared the air on your position. To me, others disagree. But I am willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll tell Trinidad and Tobago why. You have a role to play in in the development of this country, especially where crime and crime management is concerned. You know things that few people understand. And you speak, and perhaps, maybe, in the best interest of the country, you should sit Faris Al-Rawi down and guide and advise him as to how to get out in front of this thing, because it is destroying him and anybody else who comes close to it, touch it, defend him or it. It is looking bad.
I don't think I'll waste my time. I have sent 25 requests to the Minister of National Security. I have sent full handover of all the things we have achieved. Well, who told me to do that? As soon as I did that, every single thing that I submitted that we achieved, it was dismantled. The NOC, the Rapid Response Unit, the Highway Patrol, the Community Comfort Patrol, the Maritime Security Wall, the Covert Operative Unit, the Special Anti-Terrorist Operation Group, the Human Trafficking, the dealing with illegal immigrants, the matter with dealing with the UK visas that the United Kingdom wants to impose on us, and 17 other policies. So I am not going to be wasting my time anymore. It has been a known fact that anything that was done by the last government must be shut down or dismantled. And guess what? It was done in 2010 as well. So when we continue playing this game of petty politics, the criminals continue to benefit.
The public was looking to you, and I'll tell you what, and it may sound bad, but the public short of heroes in this country. That's why every freaking night in Movie Town is a set of superhero shows, because people looking for something to watch and cheer for. Everybody in any public opportunity, look at what is going on in this country right now. It is a total and complete crisis of leadership. We have nobody that the young people growing up and could point at and say, you see how that man carrying himself in that public office? I want to be like that. We have nobody like that. That is a problem, and everybody look to you. And I tell you this, because you know from experience, you cannot be somebody that has strong opinions and public views and not polarized. There will be some that love you and some that hate you. Of
course. Anytime everybody loves you, then something wrong with you as a politician.
That's what I keep saying. If we agree on everything, one of us unnecessary. So the truth of the matter is, though, and I want to tell you this, they looked to you, especially because it was a law enforcement issue. They looked to you. Now, you did point out all the things that were right, but you could have also pointed out all the things that were wrong.
No, as I said, we are looking at that thing with the children holding the weapon is the minus. My biggest concern is photographs being taken in a secure area. Somebody did nonsense, and that person should be disciplined.
But Gary, you don't think that was a Facebook picture? Somebody that was.
You can't take photographs in a secure training environment.
Yeah, but some friend of that little girl took that picture. She was posing, smiling, and giving a peace sign.
No. And my point is, the persons who were there involved in the familiarization should have monitored it and make sure that did not happen.
So that's a
major security breach that took place. Because what you have done now, suppose that was a plan to familiarize the children. What you have now done is let the enemy be aware of what your intention is. So you do not take photographs in a training environment. That's one. Two, you do not have a board of inquiry without inviting the previous chief of defense staff. Three, two chiefs of defense staff should not be involved in a catfight in public. So as I said, there are many. Four, the defense force have never even stated that, listen, this is a procedure that is always done. There's a passing of the buck, and that's why I said, if you speak to General Alfonso, he is shocked. This is something that has been done by the defense force for the last 50 years. Hundreds of children and adults have held weapons. Same thing with the police. Same thing with cadets. So my point is that if it is that we see a concern with the law, then it should be changed. But as it is at this time, don't come and point fingers at the children of these two children when this has been done by the police and the army. That's why the police have never issued an investigation to say that someone broke the law, because the day they do that, they have to go back and arrest all the police officers and commissioners for the last 50 years.
So the person who took those pictures broke the law?
No. It's not. That is not a law being broken. That is a security breach. There's a difference. You taking a photograph there, it means that someone, now if it was a member of the defense force that took that photograph, he can be charged by the defense force for conduct unbecoming. And with that, now he can be charged. If a civilian took the photograph, the persons who are around there that were supposed to supervise it, they now also, they were part of the breach by allowing it to have taken place. And that is my point. Then that is not being discussed. It is not being discussed as to why was the magazine clipped onto the weapon. That is not the children. The children, you can't blame the children of Faris Al-Wari for that. That is the security detail there. Should never let that take place. By doing that, it may cause the perception was the weapon fired. And that is because what you can do is you can hold the weapon, you can do dry firing, That is not possession. That is familiarization. This is why when all these bushroers that keep printing all these things and stating that this is what it is. Since when you became a lawyer, since when you were a police officer, that your interpretation of that means possession. And that's why I keep saying, if a husband lets a wife hold a weapon, I asked the lady 7 times, she ducked and bob and weave. And every time a husband gives his wife his weapon to hold, he has broken the law. Nonsense, man.
I want to ask you this one more time.
Sure.
Faris Al-Rawi's silence on this issue is flouting his responsibility to the public. If you have this information, why doesn't he and why isn't he answering to the public?
And only Faris the Attorney General, he must answer that. He has to answer why he is good. And he might have his reason. It might be right, it might be wrong. I am given my interpretation because I'm not here to play politics. I wasn't like that when I was I was the only minister, I think, in the history of this country that was a minister that was not in a political party. And if you're aware of that, Philip, I had no political, I had no party card, because all I said is, listen, a minister, my view has always been a minister of national security and an attorney general should not have political affiliation. Because those two positions, you have to be so impartial. You have to be there to serve people, serve country, serve your God, not serve your political party. When I hear ministers of national security now, everything talking about, well, this went wrong because the UNC this and the UNC did that. It is petty, it is childish, and we do not need ministers like that, well, especially with national security or the office of the Attorney General. So my thing, Philip, is that all I am seeing, I look at the pros and cons, and I give my view based on my experience and knowledge. In this case, the children holding the weapon, if anyone says they broke the law, all I'm saying is, well, then tell me, is it that we're going to arrest all the cadets for the last 50 years? Every single police officer and the soldier who have allowed children to carry holy weapons in caravans that have been held for the last 50 years. Unless all of you are right, and the man who is the most knowledgeable in the history of Trinidad and Tobago in the defense force, General Alfonso, he's wrong because you all know better than him.
No, it's not that. But you need to look at it from the public's point of view. Because this is a nation 55 years old, and not one public office holder committing any single crime has been brought to justice. Not one. And so many crimes have taken place.
All right, I'll tell you why, Philip. You know why? Because we have an outdated law called an outdated system of integrity commission. So the integrity commission is that Minister Philip Alexander, he has to fill out his form every year with his wife. But Philip Alexander could have a brother. He could have an unregistered business partner. He could have a grandfather who he could just give houses to. And so he could get 10 houses through kickbacks, give it to all his unregistered partners, put it in escrow, whatever, sit back, and then he knows that belongs to him. What I did to prevent that was something called civil asset forfeiture, where if you cannot account for how you acquired that house, how you acquired that boat, how you acquired that property, how you acquired some figure in your account, well, then it will be seized.
How does that affect the cocaine traffickers and the money launderers?
I'll tell you why.
I want to say this to you. There are people who own malls in this country that cannot account for how they own the mall.
Well, Philip, that is where the civil asset forfeiture
So do we go after them, or are these laws to go after, as far as Al-Rawi say, the little spinning wheel drivers and gold chain wearers? Or are we going after the people who opening all of a sudden a chain of bars and a chain of alcohol stores?
In to the AG, I drafted the civil asset forfeiture. He has taken the baton. It's known as Against Proceeds of Crime Act. It means that if you have all of a sudden this little drug lord, this gang member who got you contracts, has $10 million in his account, and through intelligence, we can't charge him. We ask him, how did you get that money? Anytime you cannot account for it, we could seize it. Anytime it is an individual has 3 massive houses, each worth over 10 million, and you're working for $3,000 a month, we ask you, how did you get those houses? You can't account for it, we seize it. This is done worldwide. This is the best way to deal with white collar crime.
Under broken windows and zero tolerance, would Faris Al-Rawi been able to have explained away, or would he have been charged?
In what? In this matter?
In this matter. Regardless of who did what before.
Again, in my view, of what I have, based on my experience in national security, based on speaking to persons who are more qualified than all of us put together, that you have not broken the law. You people printed all of these things because all of a sudden they are bush lawyers now and commissioners.
No, but you can't say that about them, because Gary, you talking, you're mixing up two things. Well, you're mixing up two things. You're mixing up precedent and law.
No, but Philip, wait. Let us say if that is the case, and I kept asking her 7 times. The person who kept saying it because she's the biggest lawyer now. She's Ramesh Maraj. She's Ramesh Maraj.
No, stop attacking people for their opinion. I want to tell you something. And I tell people this all the time. University degrees was for a time when you had to go to a university to read books to put the information in your head. Now the average person have access to that information in the palm of their hand.
Again, it's interpretation.
Okay.
Even your interpretation of that law is different to someone else's interpretation.
No, but that's why we have courts. Right. That's why we have courts. But if you read the law as written, and some of these laws strain to be clear. Now, if you say that precedent over time...
No, it's not precedent, Philip. I'm going back. If anytime anyone holds a weapon, just touches it, it means that that is possession. Every husband who has given his weapon for his wife to hold, unloaded, have they broken the law? Yes or no? I want to ask you is that every single cadet who have held a weapon without the firing pin, have they broken the law? The answer is no. The military interpretation and also the police, the interpretation of when it was done, is that possession means that you have full control and use of the weapon as you see fit.
I want to say this
not
to you.
Familiarization.
I need to say this to you. Your public image is important to you. You have a contribution to make nationally. It is important that the people are telling you this again, because the people fed up of bullshit. The people
what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to say the popular thing.
No, I'm not asking you to say the
popular thing in this matter is that Faris Alwari is as wrong as should be, and the children are wrong, and they should be charged. I am not here to say what is popular. I'm not here to say what people like to hear. I'm here to tell people what they need to know. There's a difference.
Yeah, but you see, that's not the point, because you see this argument, you can come at it from two sides. There's this saying that there's my side, your side, and the truth. And we're trying to get to the truth. The truth of this matter is there still is a law.
Yes.
And Faris Alwari, as the Attorney General, should have been the one to recognize the shortcomings in the law and fix it.
Well, strange enough, maybe it is that it only came about based on the situation of which is shown, because this same matters.
And yet he's done nothing about the law since.
Well, you know, in fairness to him, if he changes this now, it will now implicate him. They'll say, oh, so you realize your children, they were doing something wrong and now you're trying to cover it up.
But even so, if you have a situation where a law is continuously being broken, shouldn't he as Attorney General even take that hit, take that flack? You say you're going to do the right thing for the right reasons, do this.
Well, Philip, partner, I think you should tell the Attorney General that. At this time, my job is not to speak on behalf of him or to understand what he thinks. That's not my business. He has his job to do.
Are you aware that a police investigation into this matter is ongoing?
Correct. Yes, it is. And that is it. So my point is, with all of that I have said, I could very well be wrong, But the fact is that based on what I say, if at any time the police decide to charge those children for holding that weapon, they better go back for the last 50 years with every police officer, because there's something called caravans that the police do on a regular basis. And we have dozens of photographs of children holding weapons deadlier than that behind police officers.
But the court doesn't recognize justification like that. The court doesn't recognize the flouting of law because other people flouted the law.
I've done it, correct, yeah.
So,
but again,
the court,
how can the police charge somebody?
No, but the court will hold,
because in their interpretation of the law, to them that is familiarization, holding a weapon that is unloaded without any magazines without any rounds in the chamber under supervision does not mean possession.
Faris Alwari is an officer of the court as an attorney. When you call to the bar, you become an officer of the court. He, on top of that, is an Attorney General. He is supposed to be held to a much higher standard to a lay person, a soldier, a police officer, because today we discussed the vast majority of our office holders have no clue as to what the laws of the Republic are.
Yes.
As an attorney and an Attorney General, the court should hold him to a higher standard, not so?
I would say so, I agreed. And again, Philip, but to summarize as we close off, there are many shortcomings that took place. The border inquiry should not have been done like that. Ken Marat should have been able to, she should have been interviewed. He should not have gone public and turned the whole situation into a cat fight. Probably because we could go back to the situation of his extension in the first place. That should never have been done.
This reminds me of the situation with David West at the police station in St. James. This reminds me of that. When his brother-in-law was arrested for illegal discharge of a firearm, and David West, as head of Police Complaints Authority, should have known better as an attorney and the head of the PCA that his presence in a police station was wrong in every way. And yet he went. and no sanction has ever been taken against him.
I know, and I hear you on that, but matters that are under an investigation like that.
That's still under investigation. Who's investigating that?
Well, remember, but Philip, we have a deputy commissioner of police. He loves to put things under investigation and just keep it for several years.
Forever?
Yeah. But look at it. We have PCA gate. We have email gate. We have prison gate. We have now Anand gate. We have army gate. Very soon somebody is going to steal someone's gate and they're going to call it gate.
That's funny. But when are we going to get ferry gate? When are we going to get man dead outside of a hospital gate? When are we going to get those kind of investigations? When will the police actually start working on matters that matter to the public?
When we have a proper audit and you don't have people that are being audited be part of the audit committee. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We have a deputy commissioner of police, Philip Alexander. I was with the national football team in Colorado for the World Cup. 20 police officers. Here, when we have an event, they will say 150 police officers. Give them an opportunity to line up and watch the game. When we tell them that, they say, no, you can't do it unless we are there. They have 75 officers. They had one fire marshal in Colorado for the World Cup game because they don't understand, our police do not understand the difference between crowd management and crowd control. And not the junior police officers, Inspector Ramasa is in that audit committee. He has little say. But we have a deputy commissioner of police. When I call him, when they stopped the game between West Indies and Pakistan, for 15 minutes, they refused to open the gate because they want more money and more police officers. ICC and the West Indies Cricket Board said, this is madness. You all are hiring, you all are demanding over 50 more police officers than anywhere else in the world. You know what the Deputy Commissioner of Police said? I don't care, shut down the gate. So we might very well lose out in international games because of this stupidity. That is what we have to go through, Philip Alexander, because we have a commissioner of police that actually told the media why you're only speaking to Gary Griffith as if he's the savior of the country. We have a commissioner of police that actually said the reason for crime being committed is that citizens need to stop crime because they are the ones committing crime, or words to that extent. That is the kind of madness we have to deal with. We have dinosaurs who hold senior positions in the police service that refuse to change because they have built up themselves in that kind of culture. Until we remove those persons and a proper hierarchy in the police service, this will continue.
But are you saying that the outcome of the police investigation into this matter could well prove that somebody broke the law and charges could be laid?
Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of the police. I can only speak based on my interpretation, and you will give yours. And that's all this is about. This is a matter of opinion. But when people insist, no, we know for a fact they broke the law. Who are you? Are you a lawyer? Or were you a police officer? Were you a soldier? And because I am, it doesn't mean that I am right either. But what we have is a matter of opinion. But these wannabe bush lawyers, they have who drop in things, laws and plaster it as if they know better than Ramesh Maharaj and they're more trained in policing than Stephen Williams. You need to check yourself. It is your opinion. Your opinion does not make it right. But people have a degree of opinion based on how it helps them politically. My point is, I am seeing it from my opinion, and I am giving examples which nobody can answer. Every time a husband gives his wife his weapon to hold, have they broken the law? She doesn't want to answer. Every time a cadet holds a weapon, have they broken the law? Nobody wants to answer.
People came to the wall expecting somebody to lose and somebody to win. We have a lot more information, and we know closer to a reality in this matter.
Agreed.
Precedent over the years of serial wrongdoing because nobody's changed the law.
Doesn't make it right. Agreed.
And nobody's changed the law. To date, nobody's tried to touch these laws. There are now 6 laws attached. So we wait and see what happens. I had to tell you, thanks a lot for at least standing up and defending your position on it. And while you and I are going to continue to disagree on this matter, I respect you for standing your ground.
We have a bear bet. At the end of the day, somebody will be right and wrong. So
take care, my brother. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye. Right. Now, earlier on the thread, who talking? You all have been laughing because of somebody nonsense you all were typing. Brushgate, seriously? I mean, Dave Lux, what is wrong with you? Ali G, come on. The reality is, in this situation, the man whose jugular you need to go for. Now, I disagree with Gary defending Faris. I disagree completely. But that doesn't mean Gary and I have to be enemies. But I disagree with him on this. I completely disagree because I think because of Faris Al-Rawi's ducking and evading responsibility from the start, That was wrong. If anything that Gary's saying here is a fact, Faris should be saying that. But this is what happened, and in everything that have anything to do with this government is nonsense. We're not hearing what's going on with Stuart Young and PTSC. We're not hearing what's going on with Rohan Sinanan and the ferry. We're not hearing anything about Junior Sammy, EFCL, and anything that went on with the Ministry of Education. No, we're not hearing anything. This man who, according to Terence Dialsing, threw himself outside the hospital. I mean, come on. The people are getting fed up of lies and excuses. Terence Dialsing lied to the public. The public saw, the woman who was the eyewitness saw 2 MTS guards throw the man out of the building. How you could run a country where the public doesn't trust the police? If Trinidadians had the power to fire their government, this government got fired already. And the only thing keeping this government in office still is what waiting across the aisle. People are telling us, get the Progressive Empowerment Party ready fast. You can't force something faster than you're going, because we'll end up like the rest of them. We want to make sure we're prudent and we put the right people in the right places, and that we have the right principles and ideologies and documentation, so we build a party that we don't end up in government like these parties plan for the wedding and forget about the marriage. So Trinidad and Tobago is in a terrible, terrible place right now. And it's a crisis of leadership right now, but it's also in a very good place right now. And I tell you why it's in a very good place right now. Because right now we are holding public officials to account and to answer. And Faris Arawi may feel like he is evading responsibility for what is going on here. But we need to wait on the outcome of the police investigation. And now, whatever is going to happen between Major General Kenrick Maraj and Major General Smart and that whole board of inquiry that took place, that now is by itself. Yeah? To the people who think that Gary and I being friends means Gary coming into this party or we joining with their party or those things, none of those things are an option. We said today at the meeting, the Progressive Empowerment Party is a separate and distinct political institution that has its own ideology. None of the things that we stand for are negotiable. We're not going into coalitions and saying, okay, well, we will take recall off the table. It's not negotiable. It's not like we're going to go into government and say we will take referendum off the table, or decentralization of government, or devolving the power of government back to the people, or making sure that the state makes it possible for every human being, every citizen of the republic to own a home. We want to scrap the local government nonsense. We want to scrap the SEA. We want to replace the dysfunctional systems of government where we have a local government, a central government, a parliament, House of Representatives, and a Senate that are all, they serve no, besides the actual House of Representatives, all those other things is a waste of time. Duplication and triplication of efforts, waste of money. We have a regional health. I showed people today. You have a central government defined and representation defined by 41 constituencies, overlaid with a local government that's defined by 16 corporations, which is different to the police, how the police hierarchies run the precincts, which is different again to the regional health authorities. It's a nonsense model. Nothing fits. Nothing fits. And we need to get to a place where we redevelop this country into a real country. And step one has to be law enforcement that works. Law enforcement that works. And I agree with Gary. We've had 55 years of dysfunction. But if a Progressive Empowerment Party government was in power, all those people who broke all those laws would have been charged. They would have been charged regardless of who did what for the past 55 years. Because if we cannot fix the law and we cannot enforce the law, then we need to stop playing dress up and stop playing that this is a republic and stop playing we have courts for a reason. We don't. We have a justice system set up to give a man 2 years of anger management for a middle finger and to charge people for weed because nothing else seems to be going on. Nothing else. So we need to decide. Japan, Sweden, Finland, Norway, those countries didn't get to where they are, hoping and wishing and waiting and excusing. They said, no, let's make it so. Let's put things in place to make sure that the country is properly run, that our nation is a nation ruled by law and laws are enforced to the point where all of those countries I just named, crime so low, they outsourcing police. They're renting out the police. And they're closing down their jails. We need to get to there. It's easy to get to there. We need to want it. We need to want it. And I'm telling you something. The laws for the Attorney General children must be the same as the laws for the hustler children who live in the beatum. Because if we don't get to there, nothing else we're trying to do will add up. We will always be making fools of ourselves and our people. And that is not what we are in this for. So, this was a special edition. And I'm not sure what we accomplished, but it was good, healthy debate. Everybody got to hear plenty of information, and we looked at it from all sides. We need to come back to this one central point. Trinidad and Tobago is not working. Our Ministry of Health, our Ministry of Education, our Ministry of Food Production, our Ministry of National Security, the Police Service, the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice, none of these things are working. It's not working. We are living ad hoc, day-to-day, crisis to crisis. We need to stop this. We need to stop this. And step one has to be the removal of these fronting political parties masquerading as real governments that are just there to serve the needs and the desires of their financiers and their investors. Yeah? So, thank all of you who were with me again tonight. Thank all of the comedians in the thread for making me laugh while I was trying to have a serious debate. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend and see you on Monday. Yes? Good night.